Yeah, pretty good. It says,
Yeah,
can you see me and hear me okay? It says my internet connection's unstable. What that means.
yeah. What part of the country are you in?
I'm back in Sydney.
Cool.
I've got to back.
Yeah, a bit of feedback.
Mm.
So, all right. I think we're just waiting for Jack at the moment.
Right. People have voted, but would there be much interest in this? Good
Sydney,
opportunity for me and Jack to say hello to each other.
do you have NBN where you're at? We've got NBN in Canberra.
Yeah, yeah. I've got NBN here.
Yeah, good.
I haven't spoken to Jack for a while. Be a good opportunity to say hi to him.
Yeah, he should be joining us. He just sent me a message, so we'll just see where he's at. It'll be an all boys club. There he is. Oh, we're staring at the ceiling. All right, almost there. Pretty cool little software, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that Jack Sealing?
Jack, Jack, we got you. Can you hear us okay? All right, the AASW. Welcome, everyone. We've got a couple of nominees here for the webinar. We'll just say this: we've got three gentlemen, lovely gentlemen, that have two have put their hand up to get nominated for get elected for the national election, and ironically, we've only got three gentlemen on the panel today. So, in all irony for social work,
bit of
we'll I guess when
gender
we're chatting, guys,
imbalance.
what we'll do is just mute your microphone, and I'll once I give a shout out, just be listening in. I'm just trying to see here. There's our participants, and we will. What I'll do is I'll unmute you when it's time to go. So I'll just unmute Victoria and Jack, and yeah, let's get started. So look, this is the first, far be it a little controversy in requesting this to happen. It's also an opportunity for us at the Help Now group to just kind of see what we can bring for technology. I've got a real passion in technology to inject it into as much human service work as possible, and also just give people the voice and those in country and regional Australia to, have another outlet that they can tap into, and I guess really connect with you guys. So thank you very much for allowing your time to come on. I'd like to recognize the traditional owners of the land. So we're in there with the Ngunnawal people. I understand in Victoria's patch, it would be the Darug people. And Jack, what do you know? Are you in Sydney as well?
Yeah, in Sydney, the Gadigal people.
All right. Well, there we go. All right. Well, cool. All right. Well, look, since Victoria was here first, why don't you just give us just a snippet of what's your first social work memory?
Um, I suppose not my first social work memory, but my most significant one was working with a group of young men from schizophrenia. That was really um, some good things happened, some challenges happened, but it proved to me the power of how we could help people. Yeah, so that's probably my first social work memory.
And how about you, Jack?
Yeah, sure. And firstly, I'd just like to thank Ronnie for putting this together and giving us the opportunity to do this. And I just wanted to flag, I am at a conference at the moment and I will have to leave at 5 or just about 5. So just flagging that. In terms of my first social work memory, where to begin? I think it would be those kind of real core values of advocacy and advocacy around rights. So I was very much involved at university around student rights and student advocacy. I think that those were real core social work issues, running for student welfare, speaking up against sexual harassment on campus. And I did a lot of stuff around my own community group with the LGBTIQ community, where I lobbied the university to establish an ally network, and I got elected to the board, and I did all that. And I think that's really critical social work skills, to know how to use systems, how to speak up for a disadvantage and let the disadvantaged speak up as well. And I think that was something that I was able to really hone in on my social work skills while learning social work at university as well.
Yeah, I do apologize. I know there is a little bit of a lag. I think I got most of that. So how have you measured success? How do you measure success in your current work that you do, and current social work that you do participate in?
How do I measure success? I suppose I'm not really a fan of the KPI view of the world in terms of measurement. The strength of social work for me is about born into, participate, are initiated into field of social relations, family, community, workplace, and all kinds of other connections. The measurement for me can't be about some simple thing. But if I was to say that, if I was to talk about anything, it'd be about process measurements, and that's about reducing inequality, strengthening bonds of friendship, strengthening compassion, strengthening good ethics. They're the kinds of things that really concern me. So they're all relational, and they're all about evolving processes rather than endpoints or outcomes. It makes me thinking in social work, where it contributes to, the growth of culture and society and so on.
Is there a bit of delay? Is it my turn? I'm assuming it is. Success is such a big question. As a person who's done qualitative research, I am a huge fan of collecting stories and hearing from persons' perspectives around their ambitions and their desires and their experience. So for me, success it needs to be a deep understanding of someone's aspirations and their wants. In terms of the organization, that's what I would really want to achieve as a national director, really honing in and having a deep understanding of what the membership considers success, because I think that's really important. The membership is diverse and we need to have a better understanding of what success is for them. But in terms of an organization on a board level, we all have those fiduciary duties of what we need to deem to be in the best interests of the organization in terms of growth, making sure that we're legally reliable, and also about economic growth as well, and membership growth. So success in those real key straightforward ways is pretty clear cut. But we also need to have a deep understanding of what the membership wants, and we need to balance that. And going back to what Victoria said, and keep in line with our code of ethics, that is our core. And not a lot of organizations or not a lot of allied health professionals or professions have a code of ethics to abide by. In the public health sphere, they don't have that. And there's a lot of debate about medical ethics and social ethics and individual ethics, but social work really melds them well together.
Absolutely, and I think we had a little bit of a global social work meeting today, just chatting with some people in the US, both in the South and the Midwest, and I think we talked about that glue of what macro and micro social work does, and I'm not sure that not certain that many other professions can step up to the plate like we can. I think there's a bit of blend of both of what you said, Victoria and Jack, about how those do come across each other, and it is relational. It is opportunities to build resources with each other and really connect. And I think both of your curiosities to join the webinar today makes me think that really changing the platforms on how we communicate that and reach out to members and get their input really is important. So I guess back to you, Vittorio. How would you measure success should you get elected?
Sort of in my my platform, the kinds of things I'm just really important that we do actually have. I really admire Jack's platform, and to be frank, I voted for him. What they're thinking, and acknowledging too that we have an incredibly diverse membership. Don't know whether I'm still connected to you. There's something going on here. So yeah, look, acknowledging that we have a very diverse membership, and that unless we actually encourage conversations between those people, recognize differences, recognize strengths, and actually have a meaningful interaction, it's all, unless we do that, belonging to an association doesn't bring much meaning to it. Jack would strongly agree with me that we have these kind of forms where any group of members could horizontally connect with each other, have a conversation, share stories, gather up their ideas, share them with other groups and so on. That the technology is it had so much promise and so much potential, and is largely untapped. Even the fact that the AASW is not sponsoring this kind of conversation, to me, is disappointing. And I'd anticipate in future years that there will be these kinds of reflective conversations routinely, where you can find out, what candidates are thinking, what other groups are thinking, concerns are, and so connecting on a level is really important to me. On a broader sense, I'm really concerned about inequality and social atomization amongst our whole society. And for our membership, I'm really concerned that we need to deliver value to our members, that members and find out what they want, what their concerns are, then we are failing as an organisation, and we need to invest much more in having deep conversations with. So I've talked enough, so I'll hand back to you.
All right, Jack. And how will you measure success should you get elected?
Yeah. So there was a reason why I ran on Speak Up for your AASW, and I had the main areas of visibility and a more public AASW, and I also ran on relevance and also accessibility. And the reason why as well is because I want members to know to what they're voting for, but also during my term, that's what I would be particularly having my view on, and deeming how successful my term is in terms of addressing those issues, but also how an organisation we can look at things into the future. So in terms of success, I would want to have a more public AASW in terms of being having broader appeal, where there's public interest issues or social issues. We would be in the media, having a record of how often we're in the media, how often we're addressed, and there's ways of doing that through our staff. Critically, I remember when the AMA released this article saying that the children on Nauru and refugee detention were inhumane. It got all this media hype, yet the AASW has been speaking about this for quite a while now, but it took them 8 years. So we need to be able to really address our position, be able to engage stakeholders like the media, certain media outlets, politicians in a better way. Really importantly in South Australia, where we were able to bring it into the legislative spaces, and it was a historic day by all accounts, as said by the AASW. In terms of accessibility, we need to be a real key way of looking at success is seeing how rural and remote members engage, and also private practitioners. They're a really central key area. So we need to be able to analyze certain growth areas in terms of remote and regional, private practitioners, and also students. They're the next generation. How many students are becoming members out of the thousands and thousands that are at university currently? And that's about a way of keeping our organizational growth, but also keeping members engaged. And that was a really key part of my platform as well. In terms of other areas, being relevant, making sure that we're in line with our code of ethics, in line with practice. There's been a lot of debate about the CBD and its relevance and how it's expensive and whether members were even consulted. These are just basic things that we need to get back to.
Well, I think as an organization, I think both nationally and internationally, I think a bit of the debate this morning was where is the pardon my US references. I'm happy to get some inference from I'm only a 5-year-old Australian, so I guess who is the champion of us? And I think part of this election that I'm not certain about is who is that person, or who is that group of people that, as I put in the election blog the other day, who are the people that are going to say, who are the Maya Angelos, who are the Barack Obamas, who are the Kathy Freemans, who are the people that are no matter what, they could get a group of people to line up and say, you know, without question, you know, one of the comments on the thread the other day was, you know, sharing the despair and the social problems through the Twitter feed and through the Facebook feed and that kind of thing, versus this is what a group of professionals is doing right now in Orange, New South Wales. You know, get as many professionals on a plane to get over there to support them and really champion the cause. And I'm not certain how the AASW gets there. What would you gentlemen say about that, as far as how do we get that inspiration back into us without a major catharsis or a major tragedy to spruik that passion of people to, I guess, just bring that level of determination and passion, and have that radiate across our communities.
I'm happy to go first this time.
Sure.
In terms of how to bring back that passion, who was it? The candidate running for president in Victoria. She mentioned professional activism, and that was something that I really liked, and I think really coined that element that you kind of spoke to just then. That as an organisation, we need to really highlight our space of professional activism, but also kind of using that not only with vulnerable groups, but our own membership, and getting them involved and passionate about certain causes. In terms of your example of flying people from like Orange and into a key issue, with my experience in the union movement, we do that quite a fair bit, where solidarity it's a really critical thing, and where one shade of what happens to one person can easily affect another person. So we need to kind of really bring into the membership this sense of connectedness, and that can be whether through technology, as we have here today, but also a connectedness through common interests and issues, where we have platforms where people can meet and discuss interests and issues. So that's why I suggested, and Victoria did as well, the AASW app and the online platform for members to discuss common interests, things with practice, but also whether it's Manus and Nauru, or whether it's Orange, or whether it's something at the hospital or their community centre. So getting back to it, I think we need to just have the platforms as we have here, but also really highlighting our space of professional activism and bringing that in.
All right, Vittorio, what are your thoughts?
Back on main, I suppose what we need is to individuals rather than the kind of collective you're talking about. Of social workers in Orange who are members of the AASW, but they've got no way of funding each other, because the way that the membership system is set up, it's all right. And so, well, if you're a member of the AASW, how happy are you to have your available to any other member of the AASW so that you can fund each other? And I say, you are the members in the 100K radius of me, and you know, page what they're concerned about, what they're interested in, what activities are really engaged in, because a lot of our members are very passionate and in a whole range of social justice issues. The also very everybody in Orange connect and connect with us and say, hey, please.
what and I think you're absolutely right. I guess it's just how we as a collective really build the resources for them. And I think there's been that reliance on the national membership to develop those resources and to make that important part. I mean, look at the constitutional changes that were requested recently. I mean, you've got really, branch management committees saying, well, some are very, very active and really pursue things, aggressively to CPD and connecting members and building resources for them. And there's some branches that at times are waiting for, I guess, the permission, the permissiveness of the national body to say this is what you can and cannot do. I think, in previous conversations is talking about, well, as a specialist workforce, you can see it in the blog. I'm just having a look at the AASW thread now. The distinction. One of the questions from Anne on the page is, your distinction in credentialing specialty practice areas, and I guess I'm a bit cautious about that because I think Elon Musk was saying the other day. He says, specialization is key, but if you're specializing in a couple of things versus a particular thing, does that, if you're second best at three things rather than number one at one, which one makes you a better professional? What is your gentleman's take on specialization, or we'll say macro and community development specialization, if there is a term?
Mm. So I'll go first. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Just to clarify, so in terms of specialization, you mean a social work specialization in community and activist spaces, or?
Well, I think we've seen with the trauma-informed care stuff, with the trauma specialization, and with South Australia going towards registration, I think you can easily see the move towards maybe a little bit of the American model, where it's we're narrowing those specialities, and I think we see our counterparts like psychologists and counselors have their very narrow spaces that they operate in. Does this run us down those similar rabbit holes, I guess we would say, to only focus on trauma, or only focus on one, I guess, a minute aspect of practice, versus being able to be more fluid and, I guess, more recognized in a broader sense?
So a few things. I think at the moment, when you talk to someone who isn't in social work and you say, I'm a social worker, not a lot of people know specifically what that means. A lot of the time, say compared to counselors or psychology or therapists even. And we do work in government spaces, we do work in community sectors, we do work in health, we work in private practice. So I think if we went down registration, I don't think it would lead to that. I think it would just lead to better practice. I think it would lead to professional pride, where we would be able to situate ourselves better in terms of having a registration body and our own workforce. And looking at my own heroes of social work, like Margaret Whitlam, she was very much involved in the community sector, and she spoke very fondly about professionalizing social work. And you can professionalize it, but it doesn't mean that we're going to be losing our roots of community activism. And as long as we keep to our code of ethics, we can lead to a broader occupation, a broader workforce, which is professional, but is still very much in touch with the issues of society, whatever they may be at the time. So I know I don't agree that we would go down a narrow psychology or a narrow counselor pathway. I think those professions are that way because of their field or what they're practicing at the time. But social work is very much a broad church and a broad membership, and that is our strength. Did people get that?
Yeah, I got all of it. It looks like Alison just kind of commented that there's a bit of audio chat, so you are able to have a look at the webinar chat. I know Victoria was a bit in and out. How are you going now, Victoria? Do we still have you, Victoria?
Yeah, got a connection. I just keep dropping in and out, and I've only gotten about 25% of the.
Okay.
Possession of maximum comments. Okay.
Well,
it's a really complex thing to do.
I can see now why the AASW didn't want to fund a internet-based call-in with our intermittent speeds, we'll call them. If you want to, both of you gentlemen and anyone, feel free to click on the chat module. Happy to enter your information in the Zoom webinar chat after you've kind of had your spiel.
I'm wondering if it will play back better rather than a live chat.
Yeah, it could do. So we're streaming live on YouTube. I think it will have a bit of delay. People are welcome to disengage with the being a participant in this. I've copied the YouTube live feed. It looks like it was pretty steady. I've just taken the videos off to hopefully deal with some of maybe the bandwidth issues. And I think look, I guess a big thing for me, and one of the reasons I wanted to host this, and I guess just have some platform for it, is I think with our current leadership, and I think with the NASW as well in the States, I guess how do we get a sense of, or how do we as a membership, not necessarily the candidates, Jack and Victoria, so how do we as a membership really just kind of put some non-negotiables, not just where our money's going, but I guess where are we going in terms of, I think, keeping to our roots, but making a situation that we've really got what we're saying at the ground level really translating. And I guess if those leaders are coming around to our local branches and, coming to Deniliquin, what are they, are they in tune with what we're after? Do they have, are they measuring the same measuring stick, whether that's a measuring stick of relationship or a measuring stick of, what programs and how the ASW is going to back? Because I think both organizations, both NASW and ASW, is what's that program logic that we have that really binds us all together? Yes, there's the ethical underpinnings, but where is that? It's that, what's the vision? And I think being able to look in the leadership's camp and say, well, what we know that vision. We know that vision. Is it simple enough? I guess that's my question to you two gentlemen. Is it simple enough for you as a candidate to I guess simplify that message to say, this is what we are. Let's do something as a collective. I'll start with you, Victoria. We'll see if your audio's catching up. But how would you simplify a message to really rally the troops? What would be a simple message from yourself? I guess your top 3 priorities that you would pursue. Yeah, well, I apologize, everyone. It looks Jack, you can chime in there if you're getting the feed.
Yeah, no worries. I can hear you quite clearly. I will just have to leave after this, however. As
Sure.
my time is up after head. But in terms of the question, in terms of a simple enough message, I've really spoken a lot about a more visible, a more political AASW. And some people were skeptical about the idea of a political AASW, but I think social workers are innately political in their position. We challenge where resources go, whether it's the individual who is lacking housing or is experiencing a lack of accessibility with their impairment in the home, or whether it's on the policy platform for children out of home care, or on the protection or domestic violence systems. So when you look at me and when you vote for me, you're voting for a more political AASW. And what this means is a AASW which kind of mirrors a lot of what you said, Ronnie, in terms of the National Association of Social Workers in America. We aren't the same as them. We can't pretend that. They've got a 200,000 plus membership, and they run candidates. They endorse political candidates which meet their interests during the presidential or the Congress or the like. So I think we need to be a bit more smarter in how we lobby. So that's a part of my platform, number one. Number two, a way to get there is registration. And that's a really key part of my platform. Reason being is we can be more politically active if we have a registered organization and where a membership has that focus and has that professional identity. We already have it, but it's not all there yet in terms of registration. So number two. And in terms of number three, we need to be more in tune with our membership and what they want. So registration is very much high up there. I've heard that anecdotally. And in terms of the registration zone surveys, they've figured that out as well. So in terms of being more in tune with the membership, we need to run a more diverse organization, get them involved. I've spoken a bit about the technology devices that we've touched on, and also the student organizations and student committees in our organization. If we have a young and vibrant student membership, and even also mature age students, we can expect the new incoming generation to be carrying on the mantle of the AASW. And I'm representing that as well. So that was number three.
Cool. Well, thank you, Jack, for your time. Enjoy the panel. I really appreciate it, and good luck. Good luck next week. We'll look to see. Looking for the results, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Have a good long weekend.
Bye bye. You too.
Do we still have you, Vittorio?
Well, only sort of every 10 seconds or so I keep dropping in and out, and I've tried to fiddle with my connections, and I think there's something wrong with my modem because the speed's really fast, really strong upload and download, but I don't know what it is. I really apologise for that.
It's Sydney traffic, Vittorio.
Seems to be just so erratic that...
All right. Well, what would be your top three stumping points to champion for your members?
Yeah, well, I think I just lost you again, so we might have to call it a day on this one. I'm sorry, I just can't...
No worries. We'll wrap it up. Thanks, Vittorio. Have a good long weekend, mate. Take a day off tomorrow, will you? And good luck in the election. All right. Well, that sadly we didn't get all that we wanted with a bit of internet connectivity issues. So I'm sorry for the viewers out there. We are still streaming live on YouTube, and I guess having a have a think about the election Facebook page and that moderation of that. I know that. I know that there's often times that as members, I guess across the region, hopefully they been able to tap in to those communities. I've just got a social worker on the line. I think that what are your thoughts, Alison, after I guess hearing a little bit of what the guys have said and maybe a bit broader on the thread in the elections on Facebook? What are your thoughts?
I think I'm still going to be standing my position that the AASW and the College of Excellence have their particular functions, and in many ways they're doing them very well. But I don't think that the needs and the well-being and the rights of social workers generally are being looked after very well at all. And I have not heard anything in what anyone has said in the election that convinces me that anything is going to be different moving forward. So, having said that, I need to look at where I'm investing what I consider to be substantial experience and knowledge, and what I'm going to be doing with that over the next 10 years. But as the profession stands right now, I'm sorry, guys, I think long-term being a social worker, particularly with the activist position that I've taken, ends up in brain damage. So that's not a really good outcome to keep repeating.